Let's try that right now. Just like they drew it up. Right? Just like the Steelers drew it up just like in classic Mike Tomlin fashion. He's got the wagons circled. Just where he wanted the Baltimore Ravens. The Steelers are victorious in Baltimore. 27-22, your final score. Back into first place go the Steelers with a game in hand on the Ravens with just 4 weeks left in the season. This has been a wild Steelers season, to say the very least. The wildest in quite some memory, for sure. Once again, victory. Snatched from the jaws of defeat, if you will. Steelers really were ahead most of the way. Baltimore did take an early 3-0 lead on the Steelers, but they held command for the majority after the Aaron Rodgers touchdown in the first quarter. It was their game. They led 17-9 at the half. They outscored Baltimore in the third quarter 10-7, and they held Baltimore to just a pair of field goals. They did allow the Ravens to score on 4 straight possessions, but the defense came up really big on the final 2 stops. They hold Baltimore from getting to the end zone. We could talk about the controversial play if you want on the would-be touchdown reception that happened there in the fourth quarter with Lamar Jackson, and the receiver is escaping me. Who was it, Bill? I can't remember off the top of my head.
Likely.
Thank you, Lake. Yeah, so there you go. So Isaiah Likely, thank you very much, who had 4 receptions for 25 yards. Zay Flowers with a big game to no avail. The Steelers win. The Steelers win 27-22. They are now back in first place, sole possession of first place in the AFC North. And joining me live to talk about it now in the post-game show, John Fedko and Jerry DePaula. Let's bring both those gentlemen in. There he is. There he is right there. My man, John, how are you, sir?
I'm doing awesome, man. It's a holiday season.
It is the holiday season. Jerry, the Steelers got a gift. Did they get a gift or did they earn this one? You tell me, or is it both?
That call could have gone either way. It looked like it was a touchdown to me. Romo thought it was a touchdown, but the officials in New York didn't think it was a touchdown, so it's not a touchdown.
John, your thoughts on that controversial call right there?
I mean, the Steelers, there were a lot of nuns praying for the Steelers today because they got every break in the book. Remember, they got that phantom call on a field goal that ended up becoming a 4-point play. Yep. They got that call, which could have gone either way. It wasn't an obvious touchdown. I disagree with Romo. It wasn't obvious. It looked like, the ball may have been knocked out of his hands before he had complete control of it. And it's so funny it happened to Likely because Likely fumbled the ball, a touchdown that he had last week. Right. As he's going into the end zone against the Bengals. I think they showed it real quick today, but he's got a problem holding on to the ball. You got to hold on to that ball. I don't have a problem with that overturn. That wasn't Romo was way too much like that it was not an obvious touchdown. It's that football move thing. What's a football move? I don't know. I mean, didn't look like if I was in the middle of the field and that was done in regular motion, I could see that being called incomplete and not have a problem with it. So that to me wasn't an unbelievably controversial call. I think the Steelers earned this win, and I just want to point out, if I can, 3 things that I got from this game. Because I did happen to be driving around our wonderful metropolis and listening to the talk shows. And 2 guys I really heard hammered this week were Queen and Metcalf. And guess who were superstars today? Queen and Metcalf. And I thought
Queen, an injury too.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, Jerry. The reason I would call Queen a superstar is not for any play he did on the field, but for the incredible toughness he showed. And I take a lot of shots at the modern NFL and say these guys aren't as tough as the 70s. Well, guess what? The old man sitting on the couch saying, "Get off your lawn," me, says, okay, Queen could have played in the 70s. That was really cool. That guy was hurt. Obviously, he wanted to get in the game. He came back in the game. He was playing hurt the whole game. just God bless him. He to me is the star of the game, and he took a lot of shots in the media this week, and so did Metcalf. And Metcalf had the two big plays, the two big bombs at the beginning of the game and the beginning of the second half. And the other guy you got to point out, and I'm taking shots at him, is how about Aaron Rodgers? He has the wrist. His wrist is it is hanging on by a thread. And the deflected pass was a huge play where he comes down with that. It's not picked off. He makes the reception instead of it getting picked off. And they reverse that call. What a gutty call by him. So hats off to the Steelers. They earned this game by being really tough, being the tougher team.
Rodgers realized that this is the end for him. And I think you could see it in his eyes today. He really wanted it. When he went up for that deflected ball and he got it away from the defender, that took a lot of guts, but for a guy whose wrist is broken. So you got to give him a lot of credit down the stretch. I think he's going to be a great asset to the Steelers. And I said in the pregame, I said that the Steelers may win this game, but they have a lot more work to do, John. They're in first place by one game. So what? They still got to go to Detroit in a couple weeks. Miami won today. They're playing better. So
5 in a row now. 5 in a row for the Dolphins.
Well, there you go. So the Steelers got to keep winning. I mean, they got to win at least 3 of their next 4 to win the division, I think.
Yeah. Now,
go ahead, John.
The only thing I'll say about this is that the NFL is so crazy this year. I mean, I don't know if we say this every year, but this is one of the craziest years I've ever seen in the NFL. And it's gotten crazier because that last wild card spot is going to be absolutely insane. And it's not out of the question that the Steelers could get that last wild card spot. Now, we got 2 huge games coming up tonight and tomorrow. Let's see how those play out. You got Houston playing the Chiefs, and I don't know who to root for in that game. And you got the Chargers playing tomorrow night. 2 games that could play a lot into the Steelers having a shot at that crazy last wild card. So it's actually possible. It is possible, I guess, that the Steelers could get a wild card. I mean, they could lose to Detroit and then beat Miami and beat Baltimore at the end of the year. It's possible. I was figuring it out, and they could get in as a wild card.
Their best path is to win the division.
Oh, of course,
100%.
Of course,
they can't depend on wild card.
But my point is, 5 weeks ago, I was the guy on this show saying, there's a wild card coming out of this division. It's the worst division in the history of football.
Wait
a minute.
Yeah, things change from week to week.
Yeah, there may be a wild card coming out of this division because Indianapolis' season just ended today. Their season's over. They lost their quarterback. Yeah. They lost to Jacksonville. Over, okay? So they're out of it. Who knows? They may end up 8-9. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen now.
You don't know. That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it. That's why the NFL likes to have these teams all bunched together with the same record at the end of the season. Makes it fun.
This year, Jerry, it's the absolute truth. Next year, when we're doing the show, and I say something stupid in the 3rd week, remind me of this week. Because this is completely different than what we were talking about 5 weeks ago. There was no chance a wild card was coming out of the Steelers division. Well, guess what? As of right now, there is a chance a wild card could come out of the Steelers division. It's insanity.
Speaking of how things change, people were criticizing Arthur Smith, the offense coordinator, so much recently. He called a good game today. He had them turn the ball down the field, across the middle. A screen pass to Warren for the touchdown was a good call. Arthur Smith has not had a great season, but his players have not had a great season either. So I think he stepped up today. I think Mike Tomlin stepped up today.
That's a great point.
Ready to play.
That's a great point, Jerry, and I've heard him take shots in the media. And again, look at Arthur Smith's calls. First play of the game for the Steelers on offense, right. And then the huge play in the beginning of the first half. That's genius on Arthur Smith. Down the field to Metcalf, those are huge plays. One was 50 yards, one was 20 yards, and that really set the tone. Those 2 plays downfield to Metcalf, and I keep hearing Metcalf's not a big play player. I don't know. I saw him make big plays today. I guess the talk shows have nothing else to talk about. But this guy is a big play receiver. He did it today.
He can be. He's big enough. He's big, strong. With that tight end.
Well, I will say this, Ronnie Hunter on YouTube. Hey, guys, we beat Baltimore throwing the ball and not running it. I said in the pregame, I really felt if they were going to have any chance, it had to be Aaron Rodgers tossing the ball today. He had his best game, hands down. No question about it. He was very sharp. He had time to throw. And I think you talk about Art Smith having a great game. After what happened last week, after the post-game presser where Aaron came at DK and said, hey, I called for an in. He went out. They got on page this week, did they not? They got on page, all three of them, plus the unit in general. I think the defense came out sharp as well. They lulled their mid-second quarter into the fourth, but the last two stops were great. But the offense really pulled it together this week. Big reason why they won was Aaron Rodgers. John Fedko, what do you say?
Absolutely. And again, I think the play of the year right now for Rodgers is only because of the wrist injury, catching that deflection. If that's an interception, I think Baltimore wins the game. I think they have all the momentum. They have a short field. That was a critical play, and the play was a correct call. They looked at it. Rodgers was down. He had possession. And for him to make that kind of effort, as Jerry pointed out, he wanted this game, and that's a cliche, but all you got to do is show that play, and that's the definition of want the game. He couldn't care less about his broken wrist. He wanted that football, and he knew that he could have snapped that wrist on that. I mean, he didn't know it, but at that moment, that wrist really could have snapped. I mean, he's in there with 300-pound guys going to fall on him, and he made one of the plays of the year. If they make the playoffs, you got to go look back at that, and here's your quarterback in a cast, that was a reception. He's credited with the reception. That was a huge play.
You got to give Tomlin and Omar Khan credit for sticking with this guy in the offseason when he wasn't sure what he was going to do. Without Aaron Rodgers, this team is not in first place right now. But the thing I wanted to mention, I want to balance this out a little bit. No running game. When they had the ball there at the end of the game, right before their last punt, most teams, when they had Bettis, remember when they had Bettis years ago, they give it to Bettis in those situations. You get 1 or 2 first downs, the game's over. You don't have to punt it back to the Ravens. They couldn't do that because they don't have the running game to do that anymore.
I will say this.
About the stretch.
You're absolutely right on that last drive when they had 2 runs and then they threw an incomplete pass, which wouldn't have been a first down anyway if he caught it. But Kenneth Gainwell really does a great job doing yaks. They just toss it to him on the check down. So that's kind of their running game. You're not getting the yardage coming out of the rushing department. But if you look at Gainwell, who's like the second leading receiver on the team, they're kind of using him as a running back with yaks. They throw him, they swing those passes out, and he gets yaks, he gets yards after the catch. So Gainwell's, been really incredible once he gets the ball in open field. And that's their strategy. Instead of handing it off to him, let's just toss it out to him. So, yes, Jerry, you're right. Where it really hurt him was at the end of the game when they had to run the clock out and they couldn't get that first down. They had to give them back. And then Baltimore shoots himself in the foot with a 15-yard holding penalty. They had the ball at the 43.
Baltimore is not the Baltimore we know from years past.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was a huge penalty.
Gentlemen, I want to let you know that we are awaiting Mike Tomlin's post-game press conference. John Harbaugh speaking now to the media. We will get to his press conference as well. We want to take Tomlin first if we can. We are watching up. Mike Tomlin coming up to the podium right now. Let's see if we can get this live for everybody as he steps up to the podium. We'll try and bring that in now. Let's see if we can get it. If we have to wait a few minutes, that's fine, but we'll let Bill work his magic. Both head coaches are at the podium. We will have post-game reaction from both for you in just a few moments. Very little running game. There's Mike Tomlin. Let's go to Mike now.
Man, awesome team win. I'm just appreciative of the effort of the men in that locker room. Classic Steelers, Ravens. Unfortunately, maybe a lot of guys go down in the game, but that's kind of been a component of it too. Darnell Washington had a concussion. Malik Harrison had a concussion. Pete had a concussion. Benton had an ankle. He was able to go back. A couple other evals, I think they were able to go back. But it's really kind of indicative of how this game is played, man. Appreciate the efforts. Big win for us, obviously, in a hostile environment, and we'll keep moving. Questions?
Thank you, Tech. Down the field right off the bat. You did it in the second half, too. Is it important with some of the second half balls that you got in?
I just think we were in aggressive posture all day. I just think that's how we got out of bed this morning. That's what's required when you're playing these guys in their venue.
What did you see that made you feel comfortable you could attack them that way?
I just think that's the way we needed to play. We needed to be aggressive. We've just been in here a lot. We're familiar with them in this environment, and that's what's required.
Like what you said about the defense, I know it wasn't obviously what you wanted overall, but you did hold some 3 field goals.
Man, I'm just appreciative, man. we started having linebackers go down. That period of time when Patrick Crean was unavailable to us was uncomfortable. But that's just the component of it. That's why it's the ultimate team game. I'm just appreciative of the collective efforts.
That likely non-touchdown in the fourth quarter. Joey Porter never gave up on that play. What do you have to say about that?
Just appreciative of the effort. That's just kind of indicative of how the game needs to be played, and it'll be a good example of that.
Why don't you speak to Alex Highsmith and how he stepped up in some of the big plays he made today?
Man, I thought as the game got thick, you really felt his presence. We're actually coming out of that very last time out, and he turned around, was walking back toward the bench with me. I was like, Alex, what are you doing, man? Get back in there. And I'm thankful that I did because obviously, man, he made the play today.
Did you think the likely catch was a touchdown when they called it?
I did not. But I know sometimes, in the effort to get it right, they'll signal it a touchdown and give it the benefit of the review. But no, I didn't think it was a touchdown.
Mike, big day for DK, but he also was a gunner and actually drew a holding penalty on that play. What can you say about his efforts and just showing that versatility as well?
He just brought that approach all week. I think oftentimes game day is indicative of what transpires during the week. I just thought that he had a can-do attitude, man. He was wired all week. He texted me after hours, et cetera. But I just appreciate his mindset and what he brought into the building today.
Mike, I don't know if you ever get a sense of this, but did you just feel or sense that Aaron was in control the whole game?
I did. But again, we knew what was on the line today. And that's why you go do business with a guy like Aaron for thick days like today. He's a been there, done that guy. But beyond the experience component of it, he relishes it. You can just tell. And that's the benefit of having a guy like AR.
You said you knew you were going to need to be more aggressive with the deep passing coming in. Did you take that mindset in at the beginning of the week? Was that something you spent more extra time on?
Yes.
How did that play out through the week in practice? Did you feel, did you see the response from the guys? Did you like what you saw?
Practice is just that. It prepares you for play. And so we were reserving judgment until we got in stadium.
Well, only 34 yards rushing today, but you were able to stretch the field a number of times. Do you feel that since you were able to stretch the field today, that maybe moving forward that would help your run game?
They smashed us today. I got to give them credit. We weren't able to get it going the way that we desired. And then certainly as attrition set in, we weren't able to maintain their run. And that's what made the game as tight as it was.
Anyone else?
You had to sack Roman Wilson today because of the veteran receivers. What went into that decision?
Exactly what you said, because of the veteran receivers.
What did you see out of the field in MVS in their first time?
All right.
I appreciate their efforts, man. I think their experience showed, but certainly maybe with another week, man, it's reasonable to expect it to be better.
The Ravens defense was, they've been playing a lot better than they were at the beginning of the season. What would allow you guys to maybe pass the ball down the field so well today?
I'm not going to speak for those guys. I was just talking about our mindset and what we desire to get done. And largely, particularly in the passing game, I think we were able to do so.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
There he is, head coach Mike Tomlin, post-game reaction from M&T Bank Stadium. Steelers 27, Ravens 22. John Fedko, we'll start with you. Anything jump out from what he had to say about the game?
Well, he didn't really talk a lot about DK Metcalf, and I actually want to talk a little bit more about him because, again, I keep hearing him getting ripped in the local media, and I don't know why. I've always thought this guy was big time, and he was huge today. Listen to these stats. 7 catches, 148 yards. And I have my notes here. One of the big plays in the second quarter, it was 7-3, and they had a 3rd and 3. And Rodgers made an absolutely sensational throw to Metcalf for 28 yards. It not only was it Metcalf was making big plays, man. He was going downfield. It was, it was the old John Hadle throw it up to Lance Allworth stuff. This wasn't rink and dink. And you heard Tomlin say that when you come into this place, you got to be aggressive. Well, they were aggressive, and to be aggressive, you got to have a big-time receiver. And let me tell you something. DK Metcalf's a big-time receiver. He stepped up today. He had a huge game. 148 yards in Baltimore. All those plays were big-time plays at big-time times. I think DK Metcalf, one of the top 3 players of the game.
Mr. DePaula.
Well, nothing that Mike Tomlin said today it interests me that much. He was okaying it. I think he knows that his team has a lot of work to do, and I think he doesn't want to get too excited about being in first place. It doesn't matter if you're in first place on December 7th. It matters later on. And they got to. You mentioned Miami's 5-game winning streak. They got to go to Detroit right before Christmas, and Detroit had a big game the other night. Win today is nice because it keeps the wolf off the door for a while. But they lay an egg at home against the Dolphins next week, and the people are ready to come back and storm the fortress and try to get rid of Tomlin again.
Yeah, well, again, for the for the Ravens, next week at Cincinnati for a 1 o'clock game.
They lost today, by the way. Cincinnati lost. Buffalo won.
They did. They absolutely did. DER Derpy 501 first 2. This is a good win, a team motivation going into the Miami game at home. Yeah, of course it is. But, and again, I was trying to point out that the schedule for the Ravens is brutal. They've got New England and Green Bay after that. And then, of course, they finish in Pittsburgh. Meanwhile, the Steelers with some opportunity. Now, again, I'm not going to sit here and paint Miami to be this, the Dolphins of 74, 75, or whatever it was. They had Jim Kick and Larry Zonka winning Super Bowls, but they have won 5 straight. It is a Monday night game, too. It is a Monday night game. Critical at Detroit and then Cleveland. Hey, I'll take 2 out of 3 in that scenario heading into the Baltimore game. Could be a good position for the Steelers to be in, even with a loss to Baltimore at the end. Maybe they get in. I don't know how tiebreakers are going to play out. Over the next 2-3 weeks, we'll see how everything shakes out. John Fedko, go ahead.
Again, I just want to say how crazy this season is, and I want to go back to what I talked about at the top of the show, that it is an incredible fact that indeed a wild card could come out of the Steelers division. Remember, the Steelers now are 7-6. 10-7. I just look at the standings. 10-7 is going to get you a wild card. That's going to get you a wild card. So if the Steelers end up 3-1 in their last 4 games and they'll win the division, they're going to be a wild card. I mean, that's crazy to think that was a possibility 5 years ago with this division in complete shambles. But everything's falling apart now for other teams. Again, Indianapolis' season is over. It's over, okay? They lost their quarterback. He was the star of the team. They have 8 wins, but they're going to collapse. That's just my opinion. And you got these 2 huge games tonight. Let's maybe we'll have to take a look at it again after these games. But this Kansas City Houston game, that Charger game tomorrow is huge. Okay, they need the Chargers to lose that game because now the fun thing about this is you can look at the other games with some interest because the Steelers can't. Let me be the first to break this. The Steelers can get a wild card. It is really possible. So let's see what happens tonight.
Well, here's the thing. The Colts are clinging to the 7th spot. The Bills and Chargers are ahead of them. Steelers have lost to both of them. The Steelers beat the Colts, but the Texans are ahead. They were ahead. They're 7-5. Monster game tonight in Kansas City for them. Right. Monster game in Kansas City for
Kansas City's going to win that game. That's my opinion.
And if they do, I don't know what the implications are. Yeah, it's possible that they could end up with a wild card at 10 wins. I don't know how this is all going to shake out.
It's not going to happen, but it's possible.
John, is they have to win 3 out of 4.
Right.
Your Steelers win 3 out of 4. I'm not so sure they can.
No, I'm not either.
Again, Baltimore now 6-7. If they lose to New England and or Cincinnati, they have another loss in the conference. So, and then there's another head-to-head for the Steelers right there that they could possibly have in a common opponent. The Steelers beat New England. If Baltimore were to lose to them, those are tiebreakers that are used down the road. Something that would help them also in the conference as well. A lot to shake out over the next 3 weeks. We'll see how it is. We want to go to John Harbaugh's post-game press conference. We're going to hear from the coach who lost today, 27-22. John Harbaugh, seconds away. Here we go.
Yeah, the explanation was the 3rd foot didn't get down before the ball came out. That's what they said.
Volume up. No.
You know what? I believe a lot of things. I think the play with I think the Aaron Rodgers play. I mean, just talking about rules here. It's not an officiating issue. It comes from New York, but when you're making a catch, you have to survive the ground. He didn't survive the ground. He's not down by contact. He was catching the ball on the way down with another person. So you got to make a catch there and survive the ground. I don't know why it was not. So all those things, I'm sure.
All right, we just bail out of it. The audio's too low.
Every time you look at it.
All right, we can't pick up the audio on that, so we'll just bail out, and we're going to take this show till about 5:05 p.m., gentlemen. So we'll get you out of here a little bit early. Now looking ahead, right? You got Miami coming in here, and let's maybe final thoughts, John, from you on this game. Let's talk a little bit about some final thoughts, at least until we start maybe looking ahead here to the Dolphins. Go ahead, sir.
I just love the toughness of the Steelers, man. I mean, I'm a guy that, when I'm wrong, and I've taken shots at the NFL, and the guys aren't as tough as the 70s. Well, the Steelers were as tough as the 70s today. That was a really I know. I mean, I read Paul Zeiss's article today. I thought it was great. Where Paul says, hey, he hopes the Steelers lose because if they win, everyone's going to say they have a shot. Well, in this crazy year, you do have a shot. I mean, the AFC is insane, but, maybe Paul's right. We'll see how it plays out. And if you didn't read Paul Zeiss's article, you should. It's a good article in the Post-Gazette, how he was rooting for the Steelers to lose today, and maybe it's the best thing that could happen to him. But anyway, the Steelers ended up winning this game, and I just love the toughness, man. I love the fact that Queen was playing hurt. I love the fact that Aaron Rodgers made a catch with a wrist injury, and he could have had his wrist snapped. They didn't care. He had to secure that ball. That's my takeaway from this. They're really tough, man. And again, we take shots at Tomlin. That comes from the head coach. They're tough, man. They're tough today. It's a better way to describe them.
Jerry DePaula.
They were tough today because Mike Tomlin, they still play hard for this guy. I understand Mike Tomlin has not had a great past several years, but he hasn't lost the team. They're still playing hard. Queen played hard. Metcalf played hard. They came out. Their backs were against the wall. They didn't want to go to 6-7 because 6-7 is nowhere to be in early December. But they still got to win 3 out of 4 to win a division. And even if they do win 3 out of 4, even if they do win a division, 10-7, is this team good enough to win a playoff game? I think that's the bigger question. Yeah, they can win the division. Yeah, they can win 10 or 11 games. But do they have what it takes to go into Buffalo, for instance, and win a playoff game? To go into Houston and win a playoff game? Parrish thought Kansas City. Even if they play those teams at home. They lost to Jacksonville and Cleveland at home in the playoff in recent seasons. The Steelers, to me, are an imperfect team, and they played hard today. And give them all the credit in the world, coaching staff all the way down, to the last guy on the roster. But there's still a lot of work to do as we go through December.
Go ahead, John.
I don't think they have to go 3-1 to make the playoffs. I think 2-2 will win this division. I think the Steelers
puts
go
them at 9-8.
as long as they beat Baltimore. They got to beat Baltimore. So if they go 2-2,
if they go 2-2 and they're 9-8, then they lose in the first round for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, but I would buy that, Jerry. But if they go 2-2 and beat Baltimore, they're going to win the division.
Yeah,
well,
losing a playoff game doesn't do any good.
You're right.
Let's just say it doesn't matter what their record is. If they win the division, most likely going to be facing Buffalo. I can just tell you that right now. Buffalo at 9. A good possibility that they're going to be facing Buffalo again.
Josh Allen in the postseason.
But on the road, he has not had much success in the playoffs.
Wait a minute, guys. It was about O.J. Simpson coming back to life. It wasn't about Josh Allen when they played Buffalo. It was 249 yards. It was craziness. It was like 249 yards rushing in a Steelers.
I'll tell you right now, they will not beat Josh Allen in the playoff.
Josh Allen apparently doesn't have to do anything because all the Buffalo Bills have to do is run the ball. Remember that game? I mean, it was like complete disaster by the Steelers' run defense. That was the problem.
A home playoff game could fix things. Let's just be quite honest here. They have not had a home playoff game since the Jacksonville loss. Okay, it's been that long, and that started the run of 5 consecutive losses in the playoffs. I will add. I'm sorry, you're right. The wild card game against Cleveland. Thank you very much. So, but hey, look, if they get a home playoff game and a chance to play Buffalo again, things could be different. Derpy says he doesn't want to hear anything more about Tomlin. We put it to bed in the pregame. We are certain that Mike is coming back next year. Ian Rappaport said they win this game today. Don't even worry about it. They'll extend him into – I think what will happen is an extension like they have for 27 into 28. They'll pick up the 27 and add the same rider for 27 into 28. That's just my 2 cents on it all. Unless they would have fallen apart and lost out and had a losing season, which could still happen, but I don't think it will. They end up going to the playoffs. He's going to come back for sure. Let's talk a little bit more now about Miami. Ethan's asking for a prediction. No predictions on the post game. I will say, however, they're 3.5-point favorites already. Vegas has early lines out. I saw it opened at 3, quickly moved to 3.5. Jerry DePaula, let's start with you. The Dolphins come into this game, and boy, are they clicking. They have won 4 straight. They did lose to Baltimore. They've won 5 of their last 6. They did lose at home to Baltimore. But other than that, wins against Buffalo, the Jets, Washington, and New Orleans, not very good teams, obviously, but a win's a win. How do you feel about the Steelers' early favorites against the Fish?
I think the Steelers will beat Miami. I don't think that's an outrageous prediction. But again, if they beat Miami and they go to Detroit and win the next week, then you're saying something. Then I might be able to say this team has something going. I think Aaron Rodgers really wants to go out on a high note. The last couple games of his career, maybe he's going to be, just motivated enough to bring this team into the playoffs and maybe win a playoff game for the first time in almost a decade. But I wouldn't bet on it.
John Fedko.
Love the Steelers against Miami. It's the same thing we've been talking about for Miami since 1968. When they come north in December, forget it, man. Always bet the northern team. That alone, I'm not a believer in their quarterback. They're a house of cards. You mentioned who they played. They had one good. They had one good. They had one good game in that streak. One good team they played. Steelers are going to beat them.
The weather doesn't matter for professionals. These guys are pros. They've all played in cold weather before.
I think it matters to that team.
I
think it matters to Miami. I do. I think they're used to practicing down there in South Florida. They're used to 85 degrees. I think it does.
What's that, Billy? Billy's saying something. Go ahead, Bill. Bring yourself in.
No, I was just going to say they can simulate that. I mean, they do that. That's why they have those.
They do.
What do they call them?
They do. They simulate it.
Well, they have a roof, but I mean, I don't know how cold they can get it in those temperatures. Traditionally, Miami has not done well when they come north and the temperature's low.
Well, I'm doing pregame anyway next week, Billy. I'm doing pregame, Johnny. So I'm picking the Steelers right now.
All right, 4.5 hours of pregame next week. No postgame show. It is a Monday night game.
That's my pick, Steelers.
Yeah, we're going to have a 4.5-hour pregame show. We're going to be starting at 3:30 p.m. next Monday here from the North Park Lounge.
What's the weather going to be like? Let's see.
Who knows? That's 6 days away, 7 days away. I'm not looking.
Snowstorm or something.
Well, hopefully not. Let's not do that. Jerry DePaula, anything else you want to add to this before we wrap this thing up?
I just think it's fun to watch these Steelers games because when they play, even they lost today, it was an entertaining game. We had a lot of controversial calls, a lot of big plays. The Steelers made big plays when they needed to. I love to see a game end up, 27-22 or 27-24 with a field goal at the end or something like that. I love close football games. I hate blowouts. 30-6 would have been boring, even if they won 40-6. Because I root for the story more than I root for the team.
Yeah, John Fedko, anything you want to add?
Love this game. I love this game today. Love the toughness. It was actually a fun game to watch. It was an entertaining game to watch. I thought the officiating was a little questionable, but whatever. And guess what? Here's your forecast for Sunday. And you're going to love this. And now I'm making it a lock. I don't even need to be on the pregame show. I'm picking the Steelers. Here's your forecast for next Sunday.
Monday.
The high's going to be 20.
Monday.
Okay, Monday's not any better. The low's going to be 16. The low's going to be 16. Miami's dirt. They're done.
These players have played in high school.
20 degrees a day. I know. It does matter. They're human beings. They're down in South Florida. They're partying on the beach. I'm telling you, it does matter. When they're playing in 20 degrees, it's going to matter.
Tua today, 41 degrees at kickoff, won his first game when the temperature was 46 or lower. He was 0-7, so he won his first game today at that temperature mark. So there you go. Give me much colder.
We'll see. It's going to be 20.
I say it does play a bit of a difference. I really do.
I do. I truly say it.
Gentlemen, I appreciate your time. We will talk to you next Monday in the pregame show, Steelers and Dolphins. Thank you, John Fedko and Jerry DePaula.
John and John.
Congratulations, Averworth. Averworth, the Mighty Lopes. I'm wearing my Lopes covers.
Right.
The Mighty Lopes, state champs. We love them.
Baby.
Thank you, John Fedko and Jerry DePaula. My goodness.
Okay.
Couple minutes here to wrap up with you folks as we are at the North Park Lounge, Richland Hilltop Event Center. Also want to remind you that our show cannot happen without the great support of not just the NPL Restaurant Group, but also the good folks at Arch Masonry and Restoration. Arch Masonry is looking for block layers, brick layers, concrete finishers, and labor help. If your company has laid you off and you want to keep working through the winter, Arch Masonry has work for you. 412-564-5733, archmasonryinc.com to learn more. If you have no experience, guess what? They have programs. They'll teach you on the job, and they can get you trained to become a professional craftsman in a building trade. archmasonryinc.com, 412-564-5733, Arch Masonry and Restoration. Just a couple quick thoughts from me. This is my show. It's the people's show. It's Bill's show, too, sometimes. Bill, why don't you jump on in here? I thought they came out focused. We said in the pregame, this is where a Mike Tomlin team that has, they were on a 2-game skid. They just looked terrible. They didn't look good in the first half against Buffalo. I mean, they had the 2 turnovers that they forced, the 1 touchdown that resulted from it. But then to come out like they did in the second half of that game, just abysmal. The week prior, not good at all, just stagnant. They have looked and struggled at times. But this was classic Tomlin, underdog, nobody predicting him to win, everything against him and his team. They circle the wagons, much like the Buffalo Bills of the 1990s. And what do you know? The Steelers find victory on the road. And I don't want to say in convincing fashion, but again, after allowing the initial touchdown or the field goal drive to start the game, they came back, long drive, they put it together, they get the touchdown, and they never trailed from that point on. They were never tied, and they never trailed. The defense came up with 2 big stops, and they get a much-needed win against their bitter rival. Just a not complete shocking event, but the way they did it, I was very impressed. I don't know if it'll change anything long term. I think we've pretty much all addressed that. If they win, it kind of delays things. We'll see. The division is at hand and a home playoff game. But how did you feel about everything after all of this, sir?
Well, I tell you what, I was glad that they were able to keep Derrick Henry in check. That's number one. Aaron Rodgers threw for 284 yards, a touchdown, ran one in. It was a good win. They needed the win. I mean, hey, now we're sitting on top of the division again. We got some gifts. I mean, I hate to say it, but that Isaiah Likely, I don't know. That was very close. That could have gone either way.
Should have been a touchdown.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's a touchdown. I'm sorry.
I'm leaning more towards that, yeah.
With the complete, what bothers me now is all these additional, he has to make a football move.
Well,
and,
you're in the end
you know what I mean? He had possession and he had 2 feet down. Now, the football move is.
What's a football move in the end zone, though?
That's the whole thing that went to the, who was the Steelers tight end against the Patriots 6-7 seasons ago? Who was it that caught the Jeremy? Not the Tooman. Who was the tight end? It goes to.
Wasn't Vance McDonald?
No. Remember the game at Heinz Field late in the fourth quarter, touchdown. I'm forgetting who it was. Not Heath Miller. I forget who it was, but
Jeremy Tooman.
No, maybe it was Tooman. I can't remember, but whatever that was, that football move at the end, the NFL has, and again, going back to the one reception where the receiver had a foot down, but then he fell out of bounds, possession. The rules in this league seem to change year to year, and they don't make any sense whatsoever, right? Yeah. He caught the ball 2 feet down. That's a touchdown, but apparently he didn't make a football move afterwards. Good break for the Steelers, but I thought it should have been a touchdown, but what say you again? Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, I thought it should have been a touchdown too. He caught the ball. He took 2 steps, almost 3 steps.
Right.
I mean, I don't understand what's a football move in the end zone. Like, I mean, I can see a football move at midfield. You catch the ball,
Right.
turn upfield, maybe you tuck it, maybe you juke. Maybe that's considered a football move. What's a football move in the end zone, though? I mean, I thought they got a break there. I really did.
Oh, they got a tremendous break.
Yeah.
They got a tremendous break right there. I was stunned. I really was. I really thought that that was the difference right there. But again, Steelers hang on. Defense, after giving up 4 straight scoring possessions to the Ravens, get the last 2 stops at the end of the game, and they claim victory. 7-6 is their record. They move on to the Monday night game next week when they take on the Miami Dolphins, who are now 6-7. Things getting all bunched up. Jesse James, thank you very much.
Jesse James.
Mr. Smiley checking in via text message. People are listening. People are listening. Jesse James with that catch. It should have been a touchdown anyhow. Let's not even get into that. I don't want to get into that.
That's a name you shouldn't forget either.
Right. Bang, bang! All right, we will have a lot of reaction through the course of the week. We'll have our Steel City Shorts to talk about what we saw. We'll gain some further insight from post-game takeaways from different players. We'll have all kinds of personal thoughts on tomorrow. I'll have a column up on our our Facebook page. You can check that out tomorrow. I'll have a column talking about the game and thoughts on that throughout the course of the week on our social media sites. And by the way, if you're watching us on X, YouTube, or on Facebook, at Steel City Sunday on all the social media sites. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok, at Steel City Sunday. Please go check us out. Go follow, like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell 10 people. Be nice about it. Be nice about it. Derpy, I'm real. The team came out with different energy today, both sides of the ball. Honestly, Derpy, I don't disagree. They had a clear focus in that first half. They really did. They came out after Baltimore's field goal drive, and they came out and they just put it together, right? If you go back and look at the play-by-play, which I am doing right now, the Steelers, who had possession second in the game, Baltimore had the first possession. They managed to score a field goal, 8 plays, 65 yards in just 3 minutes and 45 seconds. They did go 3 and out after that, but then the Steelers put together a field goal drive of 12 plays in the second quarter. They then had a touchdown drive after an interception. That one was another 6 plays. They ended the half 17-9. They came out real focused. No question about it. They came out real focused and sharp. They also added a field goal to start the second half, and I said at halftime on X, would be really nice for them to get 7, but I'll take points. And they got that. They got 3 points coming right out the gate, an 8-play, 50-yard drive. So they were able to continue that momentum, not just there, but then the Ravens come back with a touchdown. They missed the extra point. Oh, no, they got the extra point on that one, excuse me. And then what did the Steelers do? 6 plays, 80 yards, 4 minutes and 5 seconds, 27-16. That was really the difference right there. Man, they just put it together offensively all throughout the first 3 quarters. As I look at the possessions, 3, 4, 5 at the end of the half, 6, 7 possessions, 5 scores. And one of those possessions was at the end of the first half for 1 play. So 6 of 7 possessions to start the game, they scored. Best offensive output I think they've had to begin a game all season long this year. They continue that streak of not scoring more than 7 points in the first quarter. But again, strong second quarter, strong third quarter. They outscored the Ravens in every one of those scenarios by 10 points. They end up winning by 5. What more can you say? What more can you say than what has already been said? A victory for the Steelers, 27-22. Bill, your final thoughts.
You knew I thought had a great game was James Pierre. He had that interception. He had that game-saving tackle, or touchdown saving tackle on that long run by Williams.
Yes.
I thought he had a really good game.
I didn't think Patrick Queen was excellent. I thought he had a very up and down game myself. He took a bad angle on that one long run.
James Pierre was good.
Yeah, he was very good today. Yeah, he was very good today. I don't know about Patrick Queen right now. I mean, I want to be a believer in him. There's 4 games left. We'll see what happens. Okay, folks, stay tuned throughout the course of the week. Lots of content. Monday night, I want to debut a brand new show that I will be hosting on my own. It is a show called Pittsburgh Sports Tonight. Pittsburgh Sports Tonight, Mondays and Tuesdays, live here on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Tomorrow night, no guest. I'm just going to talk for an hour. It's been a long time since I've had a chance to do that. But Pittsburgh Sports Tonight debuts tomorrow, 7 o'clock. On Tuesday, I believe John Ziegler is going to join me for a candid discussion on the Joe Paterno, Jerry Sandusky saga from 2011. John unearthed about 100 hours worth of material that will blow your mind. It changed my mind. I went after Joe and Jerry extensively and heated when I was at the Fan in 2011. I did about 12 or 13 different interviews on radio stations across the country, attacking Paterno, yelling and ranting and raving about Sandusky and the program itself. John is a journalist who, in 2021, decided to take a deep dive into that entire subject, and a lot of material that refutes virtually everything that happened in the courts and in the court of public opinion. We'll talk to John Ziegler Tuesday on our new show, Pittsburgh Sports Tonight. That'll debut Mondays and Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Once again, your final score, Steelers 27, Ravens 22. Steelers in sole possession of first place of the AFC North. They'll host the Miami Dolphins next Monday night. We will be here live at the North Park Lounge starting at 3:30. 3:30, 4 hours and 45 minutes of pregame coverage. We're going to have a jam-packed show, no postgame, jam-packed pregame show. We hope you'll join us next Monday. For the entire cast and crew, I'm John Phillips. Good evening from the North Park Lounge. Once again, your final score, Steelers 27, Ravens 22. You've been watching Steel City Sunday postgame here on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Good night, everybody.